Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date, July 8th, 2022. Now, tonight's show, we are, first of all, number one, A1. Okay, we'll go to that first. My lovely and talented co-host, Chad Harlan, who apparently is afraid he's going to, start coughing and gagging on the air. It's stuff going around, Chad. I was telling Chad before the show, if I disappear off the screen, it's because of everybody I had to stop and blow my nose. It is.
I'm still dealing with after effects of COVID, so if I kill over, it's just the crud.
Mine's I'm an old smoker, and man, I've developed hay fever, so it's age. With me, it's age and mileage. Anyway, our guest tonight is Ty Shute. Now, Ty Shute puts on a little convention we like to call Smoky Mountain Fan Fest in the lovely, absolutely lovely town of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I just want to say, I was drawn to your convention, Ty, not because of the convention, because I love Gatlinburg that much. Just so you know. Everybody, okay, at the bottom of the hour, at the 30-minute mark, when we come back from commercial break, we do have some announcements to go over. We do have a celebrity announcement tonight. FYI, we also have a celebrity cancellation, and I'll explain that when we get there. It's not one of the headliners, and the replacement is a good balance. But I just want to give you a heads up that I do have actual news tonight that you'll want to be around at the 30-minute mark for. Okay, Ty, I was telling Ty before the show, one thing I do like about the Smoky Mountain Fan Fest, it has an interesting lead story in how it got started. Basically, this guy started this thing in his damn garage, everybody. It's in its third year. Tell him about the first year, Ty.
So, I was always a vendor at a bunch of conventions, and during COVID, everything got canceled. So I had a lot of friends that were also vendors, and they knew I had a little video game store in my hometown that was like 1,200 square foot. And the goal was to just do a convention of sorts there, where I would bring in a couple of the local celebrities. My brother's a TikTok guy. He was going to be one of them. And maybe a couple other vendors and just let them set up. So we created the Facebook and Instagram, and overnight it got like 2,000 followers on Facebook, and people were inviting me, asking me if they could come and be a celebrity guest, and vendors were trying to line up, and I was like, guys, we can't fit anybody in here. So then we started scouting out the small town, found a small crappy hotel in Newport, Tennessee that had about 3,000 square foot or so. And we stayed there for about 3 days before we were like, this isn't going to work. And then we settled on a abandoned Save-A-Lot building that hadn't been used in about a year and a half. That, you could tell it was abandoned. And we cleaned it up, put the pipe and drape, threw some celebrities and vendors in there. And even without AC and a hot October sun, that was year one.
Hey, but you grew organically. That's a beautiful part of it. I have seen way too many cons jump into this feet first. See, okay, my rule, if you walked up to me tomorrow and said, what's it take to put on a convention? My rule is, well, you budget based on the ass whipping you're willing to take. That is, that actually goes on if you're in your 14th year. But I have seen so many these conventions jump into it just counting on that, all that back end money to come in the nick of time, and just totally, and it actually makes it harder on the rest of us, because I've been running into it. People want to compare us to a certain con that went down the toilet, and they're saying, well, you got to pay me up front because of so and so. I'm like, wait a minute, we've been here 14 years. Your little pissant guarantee ain't gonna be the one that breaks us. So anyway, I just throwing that out there. I've got a real sore spot about that, as you might be able to tell. Okay, so then second year, I think I remember you didn't even settle on Gatlinburg right out of the gate, did you?
No, it took longer than I wanted to, because we wanted to continue off the little bit of hype that we had gotten from the first year. The vendors were thrilled about it. So then we had to find a new location, and I went all over East Tennessee trying to find something I thought would work, and numerous convention centers, hotels, all that. But the one that I kept going back to, not necessarily just because I thought it would do really well, but because they were eager to work with me, was the Gatlinburg Convention Center. And after about 3 months after the show, we were finally able to do that, and I've been happy with them. They've been great, and they still work with me more than probably anybody else would.
The only thing, now this actually was something you addressed last year, and I think you might even have it nailed down this year. I was surprised at how, what's the word, tight-ass, I'll call it, they were about you doing stuff in front of the convention center.
Yeah. Because
that was, walking up in front of it, it was actually hard to tell what was going on in the convention center if you were in the front entrance, the parkway entrance. Now, if you were around the side, you could tell pretty good. But I've been to Gatlinburg during like their fall their craft festival. They're
huge.
There are guys on the sidewalk with chainsaws carving bears out of trees. And they wouldn't let you put a damn cosplayer out on the sidewalk to say, hey, we're having a convention.
It was wild, and they say it's not really necessarily them, it's the city of Gatlinburg. So I've been actually trying to get in touch with the people of Gatlinburg as much as I can, because I really just all I wanted to do was put a pop-up tent and a table out there.
Yeah.
I don't need flyers or anything. I just want to let people know that, hey, here's what we're doing. I'll give you some information. Go inside. I still can't do that, unfortunately, but they did give me more leeway this year. So they've got these, if you remember the convention center, they got these big windows right there, right above the Gatlinburg sign. So I'm going to put a huge banner there, as big as I can, that's going to show what's going on inside. And on top of that, I'm moving the ticket stand this year to the very front, so I got a line that runs outside. And you're going to have to, if you're walking Gatlinburg, you're going to see that line of cosplayers, and you're going to know something's happening. Last year, we let them in way too quickly, and the line disappeared. And
right.
This year, I'm changing it up a little bit.
Okay, I'm getting ready to toss it over to you, Chad, so be prepared. But now this, once again, I love Gatlinburg. I love Gatlinburg. I've had more fun there. But to think that Gatlinburg would worry about something being tacky blows me the fuck away. I'll just say it. I'm going to put it out there. Now, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, yeah, I can understand. But now, the day of the heart-shaped honeymoon tub is long gone. And
it's a tourist attraction, tourist town, like, to the fullest.
Yeah. But I will say, they handle parking better than damn near any other city on earth. Chad, over to you.
Hey, Ty. Looking forward to talking to you. It's great to see you here tonight.
You too.
Wes kind of touched on how you got started with this con, but I want to go back a little further. How did you get interested in fan expos and the genre, and how did you decide that? How did it draw your attention at first?
Oh man, I actually made a post about this once on my personal Facebook page on how weird it just all started. But so shortly out of high school, I was going to college, of course, and business classes and all that stuff. And I was running my own businesses, and I kind of just got bored with that. Quit college, just kept doing my own stuff. And eventually I just decided, because I liked video games quite a bit, that I would go apply for like the assistant manager job at our GameStop. Took that job, stayed there for about 3 months, maybe that. And I was like, man, this is fun, but I could make a lot more money if I just did it myself. So I kind of stole the GameStop idea, but I really wanted to push further, not just with video games. I wanted to go further into the classics. You know, I grew up in the 90s, so I got Nintendo, N64, Dreamcast, Sega, all those. So we started doing that, and then I took it another step forward, and I really wanted to do collectibles. Now, this was a little bit before GameStop started going so hardcore with collectibles. So I took we're in a flea market. I have a flea market store. Big flea market, but still a flea market. And we just started doing vintage games, collectibles, toys, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, all that stuff. And then eventually I was like, you know, I saw Fanboy several times. It just kept happening, and it looked fun. And I was like, well, I went and checked it out. First time I'd ever met a celebrity was at Fanboy. I can't even remember which one it was. Maybe Tara Reid, actually. But I had a lot of fun, and I was like, man, this is really cool. So we started setting up as vendors. And as you guys know, for vendors, whenever you do these shows, you can make a really good amount of money. We were making more money as a vendor. If I did one vendor show in a weekend, I would make more in that weekend than I would probably a whole month at the flea market. So we started doing them more, and then that kind of fell through with COVID, and then I started my own show. But it all started because I got bored and wanted some discounted video games at GameStop. Kind of worked out, I guess.
Transition from the video games to more of a broad. Because I look at your lineup, it's a broad spectrum. You kind of cover every genre in there. So
try to. I still get complaints that I'm not covering all of them, but I try to cast as wide a net as possible.
Oh, it's everything from classic TV to voiceover artist. I mean, you're touching on everything. So are you originally from the Tennessee area? Is that how you ended up in Gatlinburg, or?
So originally I'm from Messina, New York. It's like basically Canada. And when I was like 8, our house burnt down, and I had an aunt that was living in Tennessee, and she kept telling my mom, oh, if you lived in Tennessee and your house burned down, you get a house. People are just that nice down here. They give you all this stuff. So we did. We moved down here. First place we lived was Gatlinburg. Loved it because I first off, never seen bumper cars in person. I thought that was just like the most amazing thing ever. So you could imagine my excitement when I went to Dollywood the first time. So, and then we just, we moved around Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, all over the place. And then we finally settled down in Newport. And, I don't really claim that I'm from New York anymore. I've lived here for 23, 24 years. So this is my hometown.
So it was organic area. When you got started there. You kind of playing to the local local clientele. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're right up on our break. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it over, and we'll be right back with Shute.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. We're talking to Shute tonight, and he is the man behind the Smoky Mountain Fan Fest held in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, July 30th through 31st. Okay, now I'm gonna check your New York. Well, it would be your Tennessee credentials, your Southern credentials. Okay. Now, when you drive around Tennessee, do you wave at people? on the side roads?
Very often.
Okay.
Very often.
Okay. Well, that's good.
A lot.
That's a Southern thing. That is a Southern thing we do. You do that little hand flip. Yeah. Now the other thing is, you mentioned about somebody telling you if your house burnt, they'll just build you another one. Probably true, but at the same time, you're far enough south, unless they're building a theme park, they don't believe in tearing anything down. So it would be like your house burned down and they would just be there for like the next 100 years. Now, I know that too. Okay, enough bullshit about...
My mom would have been okay with that, actually. She just, that was one of the things that got her to move, was they said they were going to tear it down, and she was like, no, we're leaving.
They don't.
Yeah, she would have liked that better.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: go one state south, and half the buildings aren't even occupied anymore. It just, we're done with it. Let's move on. Okay, now enough about the South. Let's talk about the con. You put together a stellar lineup. You had a good lineup last year. You have a stellar one this year. Everybody, we're looking at Tom Arnold, who everybody knows. Now, when you get into some of the, okay, I'm totally pop culture stupid, so I'll let you tell me. Okay, Todd Haberkorn. Where would people know him from?
Oh man, so last year we brought in Sean Schimmel, and he absolutely killed it. Huge anime guy, Goku and Dragon Ball Z. So this year I was like, how can I kind of stay in that element? And so his biggest one, Todd Haberkorn, his biggest one is Fairy Tail, a huge anime. He plays Natsu, but beyond that, he was actually Spock in the Star Trek series that was like 9 episodes / movie things. So he played that. And beyond that, the guys played 1,500 total voice actor characters in about 500 different animes, cartoons, and video games.
Just out of curiosity.
So he's one of those.
Oh, go ahead.
He's one of those guys that if you're into voice actors, you check out his IMDb. I'd about guarantee he's been in something that you love if you're into that type of stuff.
And if you're my age,
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I have actually never watched Fairy Tail, but I do have a video game store, so I know of it.
I'm gonna buy Chad. I should just let you do this part of the interview because I'm asking stuff to follow up on you. Now he mentioned about you've embraced these genres, and you've done really good at covering them. See, Scarefest being a horror and paranormal convention, we've tried to get into the sci-fi end of it a little bit, and we've not really had that much success as far as the number of people that come for that star. But you've spread it out good. Now I do want to, who makes you bank? And I don't mean which star, I mean which genre.
Anime for sure does probably the best, and horror is really good. Horror and anime are probably the two biggest ones, they're kind of the ones that I basically know the least about. So it was kind of weird, but they definitely. But I'll tell you, she's technically Halloween. She's not horror, but I mean, she has done some stuff. But Kimberly J. Brown, the Halloween Town stuff is killer. Like, I highly recommend you guys to bring them if you get the option, because I don't know if you guys saw her line last year, but it was insane the whole way through. It blew me away. I had high expectations, and it blew me away still. She made about 5 times her guarantee, so I was real happy with that. But I would say anime and horror, yeah.
I'll confess, I'm the guy that they put, and I sit at the booth all weekend. I don't see anybody. I see the vendors on both sides of me and whoever's right across the way. That's just damn near it. Everybody now from The Flash, the original and the new series, John Wesley Shipp is coming, and Michelle Harrison, who you're showing. I do not. Maybe I just haven't seen those episodes. I don't remember her. I mean, I know her.
Yeah, she's
familiar, but I don't remember her in the show.
She
played his mother.
The mom
played his mother.
Yeah, she plays the mother / eventually becomes like a bad guy, right? Like, I never made it that far, but I think she becomes like tries to kill him and becomes like a supervillain or something weird. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
took me a minute, then I realized I know where I've seen her. So yeah, Kimberly J. Brown, Daniel Koontz from Halloween Town, everybody, Jason Marsden, who I'm going to assume is another big one in anime.
And Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. He played the cat, and he's Max Goof, among like 4 billion other things.
Yeah,
still.
you just named a chick flick. And something else.
Whoa! Whoa!
Hocus Pocus is a chick flick.
I love
Hocus
it.
Pocus is awesome.
I watch it yearly.
Anyway, I'm not gonna go through everybody on the list here. Oh, and he's got it. He's got his little share of Power Rangers. They're always. I don't know if you can have a Comic-Con without having a Power Ranger.
I
don't
didn't
know if you
last
can do
year.
anything without Walter Jones. I mean, I've been at conventions with him before. He's wild.
I'm excited about that. I need. Last year I had fun with the Sandlot guys, and they're not coming back this year, so I'm expecting Walter Jones to pick up their slack.
Now, for our fan base, he's got the lovely and talented Felissa Rose, who I need to get on the phone with and get her scheduled on this show. I haven't done her yearly appearance. She's been, it doesn't matter if she's coming or not. She comes on the show every year, and I flirt with her, but, for what it's worth.
So does my brother.
No, she, and, and she, now, everybody knows she's fun. And she's fun at the booth. She's fun at anything you run into her afterwards. So, 100% there. Dave Sheridan's coming. Robert Mutes. And, yeah, you've got the ceiling clearance. Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I had to get him a special flight. His was tough.
Cargo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, okay, I'm a little average guy, 5'8", and I can tell you, I can't imagine him sitting anything that I've ever been in. Mark Patton's coming, Paul Taylor. I need to meet Paul Taylor. We had him on Scarefest TV. He was a lot of fun. Everybody, of course, that's Pinhead from Hellraiser. What number was it?
It's the newest one. Is it Judgment?
Yeah, I think, but they actually give numbers too, don't they?
Oh, yeah, I don't know the number.
But no, he's a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, he played that role really well. Like he killed it, and that's a tough one. That's a tough shoe to fill going in there.
Oh yeah, he talked about that. He said the stress involved in taking over that role, was off the hook. Jason London, Dazed and Confused, Jeremy London, Mallrats, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Robbie Jarvis, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Like I said, I'm not going through the whole list, but you have everybody that he's got a stellar lineup if you're into anything pop culture and horror. You talking about horror is right there at the top. Horror fans are rabid.
Yeah.
They're just that loyal. So, yeah, that's...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's Felissa, dude. Like, I've gone to every show that Felissa goes to in this area because, I consider her a friend. And it blows me away. I'm not the only one that does that. Like, every show that I see her at, it's the same fans that line up to meet her time and time again. And they just love her. And it's like that with so many of the horror people. Like, they get to a point where you see them so much that it's like they're friends with you.
And one more here. Eric Butterbean Ash. Butterbean, everybody. Did he give you that picture? When I had to do his banner for us, I like to have never found a good banner that man. And you've got this great picture of him. Pictures, all of it. So I'm going to say, whoever did your graphics did it good.
Funny story about Butterbean. Butterbean, and this kind of just shows kind of where I've come from the beginning. Butterbean was the first celebrity that I had ever done anything with. We brought him to Fanboy years back, and it was crazy. I was in Hawaii making these phone calls with him. I was so excited every time I got a message from him. I was like, "Oh my God, this is Butterbean!" So because of that, man, we've just had such a great friendship for the last 7 years. He has come to every event I do. I invite him everywhere. He even is set up at the flea market with me now. Every single weekend, he's at the 407 flea market selling his pens, belts, razors, meeting fans. I mean, it's crazy. He's definitely one that I consider a very good friend. Help me get into this world.
Chad, over to you. We'll tell everybody if you've got any questions in the chat room. I am now monitoring them, so we'll throw them out too. But Chad, we're kicking it over to you for a moment.
I mean, you went through that whole list, and how do you skip Jerry Mathers? You
I
got
was
the
waiting on that
Beaver
one.
coming.
I don't know.
Where else in the world
because
can you go see the bee?
if you have not noticed, I have a voice and a face for radio, but when it gets right down to it, I'm just a dumbass. I don't care.
Well, I figured you'd hone in on him. He's the only one that's from your era.
Ooh.
Now, you touched on it, Ty, earlier, that like Wes was talking about, the horror always has a big draw, but the anime, that's the one that I am constantly amazed at. Because I grew up 80s and 90s watching cartoons, and never once did it occur to me that I want to meet the person doing the voice. But when I go to these fan fests, they have lines out the door for voice artists, and it's just amazing how that works. How did you kind of pick up on that?
Lexington, the Lexington Comic Con, like I was telling you guys before this show, first big convention I ever did, and we didn't know, we weren't prepared for that. I've got the video game and figure store, so we know we're going. I'm packing up like some Vegeta toys for Christopher Sabat. I was like, yeah, we'll get these signed. We'll bring them back to the store. It'll be really cool because we don't have anything like that. So we show up and we're taking our time going through this convention, meeting the guests that we want to meet, meeting some vendors, all that fun stuff. Then we get to where Christopher Sabat's line was. And basically from what we could gather, we would have to wait about 4 hours in line to meet him. And I was like, I'm not waiting 4 hours for anybody, especially one that I'm not like isn't a personal hero, so that was just, I saw that line, and then I've been to other conventions and I see these lines of these guys that I wouldn't recognize them from Adam. Like they were walking down the street. I have no idea who they are, but every single one of them has like these massive lines. So last year, our goal was whenever we finally announced our dates, I wanted to come out with the big heavy hitter. Sean Schimmel was the #1 target we went for. I'd spent probably 2 months working on his contract before I even pursued anybody else. And then we went with him. And it was super weird because I still didn't know what to expect. The ticket sales, whenever I announced them, didn't take some big jump like I would hope. So I was like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did it wrong. And then at the convention, he stayed insanely busy the entire time. So it's just a lot of this, as you guys know, it's a learning process. And I scout out other shows, and sometimes I steal their ideas. And I guess that's kind of where I got it from.
It's like we talked about earlier. It's just incredibly diverse. I mean, you got Harry Potter to Leave It to Beaver to your favorite voice actor. So there's just all kinds of variety and something for everybody, from the grandkids to the grandparents. So yeah. It's a great lineup, and I look forward to learning more about it. But I think we're right up to our bottom of the hour break, so I'm going to go ahead and toss the commercial, and we'll be right back with Ty Shute.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly, maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
Welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest TV. Now's a little time we do a little business on there. A few announcements. Okay, I warned you at the top there. We do have a cancellation. We're going to roll it over, though, into another celebrity announcement from the same movie franchise. So, there. But, unfortunately, Dana Ashbrook is not going to be able to be with us this year. After all, Dana Ashbrook has canceled. I'm almost afraid to say what happened, but it's something that he's worked on, that he's got this, I don't know if it was contractual, he's got to go promote something. And it's going to be that weekend. And I'm not going to stick my neck out any farther than that, but in other words, it was something, in my opinion, he could have done our but anyway. But no, he does have to do something else. It's a promotional thing for something that he was in. And, he's kind of obligated to do that. But everybody, we are replacing him with Michael Kenworthy. Michael Kenworthy, also from Return of the Living Dead Part 2, and also The Blob, the 1988 version of The Blob. So there is your celebrity announcement for tonight. Didn't even have a banner done. There's his picture. But Michael Kenworthy is taking Dana Ashbrook's place. Now, some other things I want to talk about. This weekend, Haunters Against Hate is going on in Lexington, Kentucky at the Clarion Hotel on Newtown Pike, right next to the interstate. Haunters Against Hate. Look them up on Facebook. Little horror convention that you might find interesting going on tomorrow, and I think Sunday too. Mm-hmm. And now, this is a personal plug. The voice of the Scarefest, i.e. me, I'm going on a show this week. Kenneth Drake does a podcast called Voices of the Dead. It is over at WLTKDB.com. WLTKDB.com. You look him on. He's got the links on his face, but you can either look up Kenneth Drake or you can look up the WLTKDB.com. And it's Thursday night. That is, what is it? 14th. Thursday night. So come and listen. Although now, okay, now here's the personal plug part. Next to the girl when I was on a podcast that called me a silver fox, this is probably the nicest thing anybody's ever said about me. He announced me his major guest announcement. The Scarefest is America's #1 horror and paranormal convention, and from Scarefest TV, the voice of horror himself, me. Joins me on Voices of the Dead to share how you can meet your favorite horror icons this fall. I'm not just the voice of Scarefest now, Chad. I am the voice of horror.
He spelled that with a W, didn't he?
That's the way I pronounce it. Why wouldn't he? Anyway, now I want to talk about a couple of our sponsoring vendors. Holiday Glass Studio. Now, these are the vendors that will be at Scarefest, and they give us a little extra money to help defer our costs so we can bring you the quality entertainment that we do. The Holiday Glass Studio, you can find them at Holiday, that's 2 L's by the way, HolidayGlassStudio.com. And they stained glass, horror stained glass art, stained glass art, sun catchers, home, handmade, artist on Instagram, stained glass. If you're stained glass people, stained glass. Anyway, they have a website. Their description, I just realized they just put together a bunch of keywords. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Plague Doctor, Cthulhu, Jacobo, Strange Stained Glass, Wicked Collection. Also, special shout out to Bloodlust and Bourbon, the podcast, Bloodlust and Bourbon. They're Central Kentucky's premier horror movie discussion podcast, monthly since 2020. Stephen, Hannah, and Troy have been bringing all the hot takes and controversial opinions about new horror, classic horror, and the stuff you never knew existed straight to your ear holes. Feel free to check them out. All major listing platforms. You can find them on Facebook. Blood Bourbon Podcast. And apparently they also occasionally drink on the show, which I find to be a terribly bad idea because anytime I've drank on this show, it's went south quickly. But if they can do it, more power to them. we are still we're not only taking staff applications, we're getting a buttload of them lately. The word is getting out. If you want to be a volunteer at Scarefest, we do have certain parts that are still, if you want to be behind the scenes of a convention, put it on your resume and all that good stuff. Go to scarefestweekend.com. Click the volunteer link. We are still taking applications. The Scarefest Horror Film Festival. If you know somebody who has made a independent horror film, or if you made point is, you've got about another month. I think the end of August is the deadline this year. We had to move the deadline up so we had time to do all the paperwork and get it in the theater properly. But the film festival will be going on all 3 days of the Scarefest, and we're taking submissions. And finally, I think it's finally, the Central Kentucky Mystical Market next weekend, July 16th and 17th, also at the Clarion Hotel on Newtown Pike. Stop by Lexington's premier monthly psychic and holistic event. Depending on the weather, I may or may not be there myself, but I should have a Scarefest booth because my wife has volunteered to man that for me. Okay. Done with the announcements. And let's see. Can't remember what my notes meant because I'm just feeding off the chat stuff again. The reason. Now this is another thing. Now, okay, how long did you say you've lived in Tennessee?
Since like 2000, like 20.
Oh, well, that's nothing. I honeymooned in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That was how many years ago?
37.
37 years ago. Back then, Tennessee, that Gatlinburg was the honeymoon capital of the Eastern Seaboard. Now, instead of maintaining that and having the heart-shaped tubs and everything and all the really tacky wedding chapels every 10 feet back then,
those wedding chapels, man. Oh, Lord.
All the people that got married in the 70s and 80s in Gatlinburg kept coming back with their kids, and now their grandkids, and now it's become this big vacation hotspot for people that, back in my day got, went there on their honeymoon. And okay, I'm gonna say to me it's cute, it's whimsical to see how different the crowd is now. But that's where your crowd comes from. It's from my generation's kids that are being drug along just because mom and dad had a fling in the Podunk Motel down the road. And probably that's where the first generation
my
kids
aunt,
started.
whenever we moved down here, was actually dating, and this was one of the reasons we moved down here, but she was dating a guy that ran one of those wedding chapels, which so that's so funny to me that you brought him up, because I haven't thought about those wedding chapels in like 10 years because they're just not there anymore. But yeah, those things were everywhere.
Yeah. Like I said, you could not. I don't remember that. There were some downtown, but once you left the downtown area, it was every city block, but we didn't have city blocks because it's Gatlinburg, Tennessee. The place is like in a valley, and they just didn't pick a big enough spot to build it. That's the way I'll put it. But yeah, there are still quite a few. Now, last time I went actually driving around, which still was a couple years back, out in the country, there's still a few of them, but yeah, it's nothing like it used to be. I guess the big fancy ones survived. You probably get married by Elvis and all that stuff.
Actually, when the fires came, man, it burned down several of them. Those fires that hit back in like 2011, I think, or 2012. It's been a while now, but when those came, a lot of those chapels burnt down, and then the people that own those chapels were smart and used their insurance money to build something that wasn't a chapel and started doing different touristy things with them. But yeah, those things were iconic, man. I loved them. Limos everywhere, and just see rednecks going up there in their redneck wedding gear and getting married. It was fun. Now it's like, dude, Gatlinburg's like a party town. They're turning it into like a mini Nashville. It's crazy.
God bless her heart, because now I can tell you. What was the last time we went? Do you remember? It was a year or two before the fire. I've been there because of you. But I'm trying to remember last time me and Anita went. But the place back then, they were still pretty much rolling up the sidewalks at like 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
Now, when we came down last year, we went and we found they market themselves as an Irish pub. Don't have to name names because I don't have a lot nice to say about the place because that was, of course, during COVID. And I'll put it this way. The last thing when I walked into the place, the least of my worries was catching COVID. There was a lot of stuff you would have caught.
I wonder which one you're talking about. We went to one with a bunch of the celebrities because it was staying open the latest. But
were the tables sticky?
It was so crowded we couldn't get a table.
Well,
We just kind of
could have been. But yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, back whenever you're talking about like 2008, 2009, the big bar back then was Hogs and Honeys.
Yeah, I loved Hogs and Honeys. Is that still up there?
Yeah, that was. No, it's a weed cafe now. Yeah, time has changed.
The only thing I'll say about Hogs and Honeys, I love the marketing. And it was a nice little bar. But I can tell you, it wasn't. I don't remember any ladies that I wanted to see dancing on the bar.
Not a lot of honeys.
No,
is what you mean.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure they used to be. But
yeah, I was too young to go to it, but I could see as I was walking by, it didn't look like the most inviting place for me.
Okay, one more Gatlinburg question. I'll get over 50 foot from the convention center that weekend. Have they ever done anything with what they used to call the disco down right as you on the other end of town from the convention center? As you come in town, there was a big tall building on the left. It looked like one of those spiral restaurants, kind of, but it was supposed to be a disco, and it was never open. We went one time; it was open, and there was like me and my wife and like 2 teenagers in there.
I do not remember that at all.
Well,
that might be.
It might not even.
How long ago was that?
Hell, I don't know. It's probably a t-shirt shop.
Yeah, we might be showing our age on this because I don't remember that one.
I show my age all the time on this show. Okay, let's. Hey, Chad, you got any questions? Let's toss it over to Chad and get him. He does such a good job tossing the commercial break.
I just wanted to follow up. You mentioned, I think during the commercial break a while ago, I think you've got some other shows and stuff. You want to take a second and kind of talk about the other stuff you do?
Oh yeah, you guys say I cast a wide net on this. I kind of just try to cast a wide net with everything. So we got a show called Hazard Fest, which it's built around the show Dukes of Hazzard, kind of loosely. We bring in, like this year we got Daisy and Luke are coming. I think it's Luke. Yeah, Daisy and Luke, and then we've got Rick Hurst. But beyond that, it's really just turned into this huge outdoor Southern Heritage Festival. We've got live wrestling. We bring in live stand-up comedians. We got live music. So it's vendors, all that type of stuff. It's like 10,000 people a year. It's a lot of fun. And then after I moved to Comic-Con from Newport, I still wanted to do something in Newport because I love my town. And we came up with the idea of a bluegrass festival. And our first year, which was like last August, we planned it out in about a month, and we had like 600 people show up. I was really happy about it. But then we launched it with more time, and we had our last show in April, and it had like 2,500 people show up, which was just a huge glow up from one like 6-month window. And we've got another one coming in October for it. We're doing it biannually. But yeah, I stay busy with those. It's kind of, I never thought I'd be able to, like, in my small town, have celebrities that I could just like have their numbers in my phone on a regular basis. But it's pretty humbling, knowing that I could look out and see that nobody's going to drive through here because my town's so small and I got a couple stoplights. But at the same time, I'm friends with a couple people that are living in Hollywood and they're big deals. And I think that's cool. And I try, you guys understand that a little bit too. Like, it's a different feeling.
Well, I've got one follow-up to that before we cross over is with a fan convention in Gatlinburg and now a bluegrass festival nearby, how is Dolly not on any of these lists?
God, I wish. Oh man, do you know the crowd we would draw if I told people that she was just going to drive by? If she's just going to make an appearance in her car, not even stop, just go straight through there, and you could see her hair through the window. I mean, probably 30,000 people would just show up in Gatlinburg just to see her drive by. It's crazy. We tried, I reached out, but no luck yet. Dave Sheridan did a movie with her, so he said that he's going to keep trying for us.
It's not like she needs the money.
Do what?
It's not like she needs the money.
Not at all. No, I want to do like a charity thing, like, and maybe that'll entice her. Like, hey, come in and we'll do like a food drive or something, or a book drive, and just something like that. I just want to meet her myself, to be honest. I mean, she's the queen of East Tennessee, so.
Yeah, she's big on promoting local tourism and stuff. So just getting her name on a marquee would draw everybody in. But
absolutely,
it's great. I enjoyed talking about that, but I'm going to go ahead and toss to the next commercial, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Horror. Movie. Fans. For. Life. On Facebook. Find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
Hey, Scarefest, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. This week's review, it's pretty bad. Man, I'm trying my best to think of positive things to say about this movie, but I didn't like the way it was. I didn't like the script. It's a novel idea, as in interesting, different. Be a good Tales from the Dark Side, Twilight Zone, Tales something. But for a 100-minute movie, it's not very good. And this week, I'm reviewing the movie Old. And I felt old and older and older watching it. If you're not familiar with it, it's from M. Night Shyamalan. It's based on a graphic novel, Sandcastle, by Frederick Peters. What it is about it's a family. The mom and dad are going through some stuff. They have 2 young kids. And they go to this resort where everybody's really nice to them for any explicable reason. And the guy comes over, and you can see we find out that the mom and dad are going to split up, and this is kind of their last hurrah with their kids. We also find out later the mom's had an affair, and the dad knows, but he isn't saying anything. Yada, 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 cliche. So they end up at this resort where the guy says, hey, the manager of the resort, I can tell you're a really nice family, love you to death. You're amazing. We have this deserted beach where just only a few customers get to go to. We'd love for you to go to it. So they load up in the van with 5 other people, couples or with families, and they go to this beach and they get off, and the van's driven by M. Night Shyamalan, and they get onto the beach, and then they can't get back. If they try to get through the hole that they came through, because there's cliffs, they end up passing out and back on the beach. And then they find a dead body. Then it starts getting weirder and weirder and weirder as it goes. And what happens is that they begin to age rapidly. Their lives are reduced to a single day. So some get angry at each other. Some homicide happens. I don't want to give away too much. There's really no stars of note in my mind other than Rufus Sewell, who's an actor from several other things throughout time. But I just didn't care for this movie. It's so boring. And it's not on top of that. It's just awful. The screenplay is awful. The dialogue, the acting is so bad. The kids are better than the adults. And I don't know that it's an actor's fault. I'm going to blame it on M. Night. It's just written so bad. And I know it's him because it's the same clunky dialogue you get. And before you think I'm going to beat up on M. Night Shyamalan, that's not it, actually. I'm in the camp, and I know there's not a lot of us who enjoy most of his movies. In fact, I even liked Lady in the Water, and most of you hate it. I liked The Sixth Sense. I like that when it all went off the rails for me was The Happening. First of all, I'm not a Mark Wahlberg fan. Second of all, it just makes no sense as far as just the actions of the characters. Like John Leguizamo's character, and I'm not reviewing that movie now. I know I'm talking about old. Will just say, I don't trust your ex-wife or whatever. So she's a person who'll let you down. The same kind of crap you hear here. Same clunky dialogue trying to explain stuff. That same last 10 minutes explain everything to you after and everybody goes to jail and this is what happened. I'm not going to tell you the twist ending because it's not really much of a twist other than it's a M. Night film, so people get their comeuppance whether they need it or not. Should you see Old? It's on HBO Max. If you're a huge M. Night fan, sure, you've probably already seen it, but man, unless you were just an M. Night Shyamalan fan, do not see this. It's just dreadful. The acting is really so. I mean, it's hard to give a good performance when when you have to deliver such clunkers. Just terrible movie. So I cannot recommend Old. M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Watch some of his earlier films, check out some stuff, but don't watch Old. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.
Welcome back to Scarefest Television. We are talking to Ty Shute of the Smoky Mountain Fan Fest coming up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, July 30th and 31st. During the break, we were talking about stuff we hate and what we're watching on Netflix and stuff we don't understand. Okay. We're going to finish plugging the show, but now I have to ask you one more tourist question. Is there still any place in Gatlinburg to get a good steak?
To get a good steak?
Yeah.
There's a new place that just recently opened up. The old Pizza Hut closed, but it's called the Berg Steakhouse. It's really good. But man, the classic one. Oh, I can't believe I'm in a brain fart on this right now because one of my best friends works there. Dude, it's ask me whenever we're not live, and I'll tell you it. And it's so good. Like they have celebrities come in there on a regular basis and eat this place. Like it's crazy. The celebrities.
Is it the one next to the old time photo building?
The Peddler. The Peddler. That's the name of it.
I think that's when we ate at. The only thing, when I get someplace, I say, "Hey, ask a local. Say, where would you eat?" And they say, "Oh yeah, they're really good." The only thing, damn, that place was small.
It is small and it's always packed.
Yeah,
but they're good. It's good.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the one I'd recommend. But you just got to time it right because they stay busy.
Well, I mean, if there's only a couple of great places to get steaks in that town, with the
Berg would be the next one.
With a bazillion people going down the street every day. Okay,
you got 2 good steakhouses,
but you can get fucking pancakes 24 hours a day. Okay,
everywhere. I should have became a server for that, man. I've got friends that serve tables at those places, and they make like $80,000 a year as a pancake server, and I'm just like, why did I not do that with my life? Instead, I do this torture,
And well, if you're talking to them, mention that they might want to open on Sunday before like 10 a.m. That's the only time they close is Sunday mornings, and then
when it would be the busiest.
Yeah. So okay. Enough tourist stuff. Let's go back and talk about the convention and convention tourism. Everybody, Smoky Mountain Fan Fest. I went last year. I had a lot of fun. Of course, then again, I absolutely love Gatlinburg because it's charming in that it is so touristy, and then you drive a mile down the road and you are in nature. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful territory. Nice people as far as when you can find the ones that live there. Great people. If you had to tell the fans now one thing about Smoky Mountain Fan Fest, what do you want them to know?
Gosh. We do our best. We stay humble. I've got a staff of like 12 people doing this, so everything you see, it's all just us working our butts off, and it's all about them. Everything we do, we try to do our best to make sure the fans have an experience that they can't get anywhere else. And I don't hide. I'm the main guy. At any given moment, you'll see me on the floor meeting with fans, meeting with vendors, meeting with celebrities. Just I do everything I can to make sure that everybody's happy, which is impossible. But we try really hard to do that because it's a lot of fun, and I go as a fan all the time, and I try to make sure that the people that are willing to spend their money and spend their time with us, they're having a great experience too.
I endorse this message. The only thing I didn't hear any of the fans complaining this year. Some of the vendors weren't happy, but I think they set their expectations too high, thinking that because you had a good crowd, you had good traffic all weekend from, and I go by how many people walking from my booth. That's what I base it on. But I think going full circle back to the beginning of the show, I think it was, people assumed that because there were like 150,000 people walking down the parkway, that that they'd stop in. Now something that was brought up in the chat room before, that convention center has 2 parts. Have you thought about? Do you foresee growing into the entire thing, or are you going to try to keep it in that main hall?
I would love to utilize that entire convention center for what it has. I mean, it's insane. They've got like this awesome auditorium with built-in stage. They've got the huge hall downstairs. They've got so many different rooms and so many different options. But that is very pricey, and we're not there yet. But I would, Tom Arnold really wanted to do stand-up this year at the show, like, a ticketed event. And I was like, I would love to do that. We're just not ready to do that. I got to sell tickets for this before I can start selling tickets to that. But yeah, the goal has always been, they gave me the tour. The goal with Gatlinburg was to grow and just see what we could do with it. And if this year goes well and we do get some of that foot traffic, I'll stay there. If not, I'm going to make a decision probably for the vendors and move to a place that has better on-site parking and stuff like that. So it's still up in the air. The future of Smoky Mountain Fan Fest is definitely in the air. I would like to stay in Gatlinburg and continue to see my vision of that place grow up and do what I wanted to. But at the same time, if it's not doing what I had hoped, we have looked at a few other convention centers that have pretty sweet setups for the vendors and things like that I do take into account very heavily.
That's good to hear. That it will break my heart if you move out of Gatlinburg. I'll say it, but it won't come anywhere. Well, no, I mean, I didn't think.
The main one we're looking at if we move out is the Sevierville Convention Center, which it's literally right next to a water park and a golf course, so you could have a lot of fun there.
Now I can't play golf, and I'm too old and fat to go swimming. So
you can work on that tan.
I need a bar within it. Although now we're going to run a few minutes long. Okay, I booked my hotel last year based literally on how close, price and how close it was to the convention center. And I said, okay, that won't be far to walk. They really should mention in hotels.com. Yeah, but it's straight up a fucking mountain. So,
I know it when you got it. That's all you needed to say.
Okay, but yeah, so by the end of Friday, I was in pain just from walking back.
Were you walking? Please tell me you at least drove.
Well, I mean, I drove to the hotel, but no, I wasn't. No, my hotel was close. It was walking distance for anybody who's not a 57, 8-year-old smoker. Now, for me, it was an ordeal. But that's not your fault.
The view's beautiful up there, though. Beautiful view.
Okay. This will give you a hint where I stayed. I'd probably not stayed where you're thinking. I stayed at the hotel that has the filled-in swimming pool.
That has a what?
The swimming pool is literally filled in with.
So it wasn't Park Vista.
No, I don't think so. I don't remember what it was called. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying, they're all uphill.
Yeah.
Except for the one right across the street.
We had the same problem with our celebrity guests. They, I got a hotel that I thought was close enough, but it required them to walk up a hill. Just one hill. Wasn't a big hill. But they were not cool with that. So I had to provide transportation. I'm like, guys, it'll take you 5 minutes to walk, but it's going to take us 30 minutes to drive you guys where you want to go. And they didn't care. None of them wanted to walk. So that was this year. Our hotel's a little bit closer, so maybe I don't have to do that. Fingers crossed.
We had
get some scooters and put them outside.
Yeah, we need those little those electric ones that were really popular a couple of years ago. They need to bring those back.
We got those in Lexington. Nobody.
We've seen plenty
A
of
bunch of hipsters. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you can't get them in Tennessee anymore. It's
really?
a shame. Yeah, they were very popular, and I guess people in Nashville would drive on them drunk and still crash. So there's not really a way to control that, I guess.
Well, I guess if you're going to try to market yourself now as a party town.
Gatlinburg, yeah, Nashville's a big party town, so you got to deal with drunk scooters. I mean, that should just be
My only thing about the ones in Lexington, I have a funny feeling most of the people that rent them don't have that skill set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that looks to me like a very specialized mode of transportation.
Well, the first week they rolled them out, 2 people got hit by cars. So, I mean, there was a learning curve.
It's like that South Park episode. They just kept running into cars the whole time.
So anyway, I want to say the convention is just as much fun as sitting here talking to Tom. So that's your number. There's a reason to go to Smoky Mountain Fan Fest, July 30th through 31st, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I guarantee you can still get a hotel room in town because I don't think Gatlinburg ever sells out of hotel rooms.
Because everybody comes to Gatlinburg for the cabins. They don't come for the hotels.
Well, Gatlinburg didn't build another freaking hotel next week.
Yeah, they actually are. They just tore one down that was been out of business, and they're rebuilding a new one right there. So
yeah, see?
It's like nonstop right now.
So we do encourage you to support them. Check them out online. The official web address should have already have been right. Smoky, and there's no E in that. I keep trying to put E in. SmokyMountainFanFest.com, or find them on Facebook. Real easy to find. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Television. We'll be back next week.